There we go. There we go. Sorry, guys. So yeah, Dante, 2.6 million in true career sales, 325,000 was sold in 2025. This last spring that just finished, he sold 112,000 and grew his spring from 71K last year to 112K, which is huge growth. That's like what, 50K roughly in growth. And then also average order is 800 year to date at events. So if there's anyone who is qualified to talk to you about maximizing your key events, it's Dante Reynolds. So take it away, Dante.
I feel honored. Thank you for the intro, Denise. So
Hmm.
I know like how you said I'm on a or you guys are on a short time crunch here today. So number one, appreciate you guys having me come in and be a part of y'all's team here for this summer. I know every year is kind of like a 1 year deal when it comes to being a guest. So very grateful for the opportunity. Helps my schedule a lot for some goals I'm trying to hit this year. So I just want to lead with that. I know here for today, the topic that Denise asked me to speak on is about maximizing key events. And when she gave me this topic, I was like, okay. So for you guys that don't know, in my territory that I work in regularly, we don't have a lot of mega level size events. Like we don't have any events that do over six figures. We have a couple of malls that breach that, which is pretty great. But event wise, it's just not really a thing with like our geography. State Fair of Texas is part of a different program. I've worked it for a couple of years now. So I've learned a lot from that team over the years about like maximizing their events with their staff. So I just want to take what I've learned from them over the last couple of years and just kind of feed it back to you guys. People that have are on this call that I know I've worked like certain events like Alameda and Cal State and some other events you guys are a part of. Um, I know that when we get into the rhythm year over year of working like our best events or just events in general, after we do it for so many years and so many seasons, there are certain things that I've noticed like trends that start to happen with us at CSPs that we have to like go above and beyond to kind of like fight the bad thoughts or fight the bad feelings or fight the bad attitudes and basically they kind of come back full circle, like almost new rep mindset status of like, wow, I have an opportunity to work a specific event that I know most people don't have access to. It's funny, I think all you guys that worked Cal State last year, and I got to work with a lot of you guys for like a handful of days or about a week or so last summer at it. And I remember telling most of you guys, I was like, man, I would like kidnap a family of four and hold them hostage just to get this event in my territory. That's how, like, when I worked Cal State, I was like, man, this event, like, I know it's not like the biggest thing in the world, but it's bigger than anything that I have in my backyard. And so one of the things I was really grateful about being there was that I was like, okay, sometimes we just need a little bit of a mental reset. So I thought about that experience and I thought about obviously working with Texas for a few years now. And I just kind of want to bring you some bullet points that hopefully resonate with you guys. So I just ask you to be a little open for some of the things I'm going to bring up. So when it comes to maximizing key events, the first person I think of on my first bullet point here is Calvin Lopez. So I think most of you guys know who Calvin is, or at least has heard the name over the years. Very underrated as a salesperson, sells over 600 grand a year kind of person. Works a really good schedule. He's a co-coordinator with Brian Carter over in TGP. Does a great job. So what I mean by him using him as the first example is that he got asked a question. I want to say it was like 2 years ago now at the State Fair retreat for them like, man, Calvin, you're always like, he's literally like the number one rep at the State Fair of Texas the last number of years. He works obviously the most days, but a lot of people on the team work most of the days like him. But he's so good with new customers. He is on point with his marketing, with his past customers. And he just brings like this energy every single year. And so when he got asked this question, like, bro, how do you just like sell six figures at State Fair of Texas every year? Like, this is just wild. And he's like, because every other event I worked before that, like between the fairs, I treat like the State Fair in Texas. So it doesn't matter if I'm at the McKinney Gun Show, or it doesn't matter if I'm at the Collin County Home and Garden Show. It doesn't matter if I'm at Podunk little 5 day county fair in the middle of nowhere, Texas. He's like, if I'm paying to be there and I am at the booth, I'm gonna treat it just like it's the state fair because the CPO matters just as much. Like whether I sell it on a Monday at the fair or if I sell it like at a Thursday at a county fair over a few days. Oh, look at that clutch timing. Point number two, have an awesome wife that feeds you. This is great. Thanks, man. You're welcome. So, that being said, I took to heart what Calvin said that year. And this is why for the last like year and a half or so, I've been really focused on a journey of just like kind of refining my skill set because I have a good schedule. I've been around long enough. I know the basics of selling Cutco. I'm selling around 300 a year the last few years. I've kind of stagnated. And like this year, I hired Matt Graves. I talked to him last year. I hired him this year. I am paying him 5% of my sales, which is a lot of money. But I give him full credit for like some of the adjustments I've made to my scripts and how I sell this year. Basically, kind of unlearning some bad habits that I had from before. I wouldn't say they're bad habits, they were just old habits and just like learning a new way to sell Cutco. Um, and so the first bullet point I would say is treat it like Calvin, which is treat every event that you work from now until the fair as if you were working it as a key event. I don't know about you guys, but when I show up to certain events, like there's market days I work, so there's fairs I work and stuff that are really small. Um, and I've brought a new attitude this year of being like, hey, there's some events I do great and there's some events I do terrible at. And I just come into every event now with just the expectation of just like, I really need to force myself. I really need to challenge my mindset that even though I've been working events for 10 years now, I need to treat every event like it's a key event. Because I don't know about y'all, but I kind of show up different for key events. When it's an event I know I'm going to sell like 10 grand at, 15 grand at, maybe potentially 20 grand at, I'm like, I just have this natural built of excitement because of the obvious reasons. And I'm like, you know what? If I'm already here at the market days on Saturday, Sunday, it cost me $100. Man, how cool would it be if I sold 5 or 10 grand at this little show? And I've had little moments like that. And I say all this to you guys because I know most of us here have been into a rhythm for over 10 years of working events, and it can be hard to like find a reason to get excited in the morning to go set up the booth and go sell at the show. And so what I'm going to challenge on is the same thing I've had to challenge myself, which is number one, treat every event as if you're a key event, like I said. But here's like a sub point to this, which means dial in your scripts. One of the things that Matt has challenged me really strongly on this year is dialing in my scripts. Like we literally just had a call a couple days ago and it was all on flatware. And he's like, why haven't you sold a flatware chest in like 2 months? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm all ears for the like teach me your ways. And he had me role play the script. Our whole call was me just doing my script and him just picking it to pieces. And he's like, yeah, that sounds like a solid C plus. I don't know where you got that information from. He said it in a nice way. And I was like, well, I mean, that no wonder I'm not selling lately. And he just role played his script with me. I wrote down notes. I gave him some feedback on it, and now my flatware said I'm probably going to be selling more flatware lately. Every single time that I get challenged to dial in my scripts again, I notice I have like a pop, like I have an uptick as far as like what I sell, like how much I sell. I've been challenged really hard on like selling more family sets and complete sets. And we just had our Gulf Coast meeting yesterday, and I handed out some data points that showed every person like exactly what sets they're selling from all of last year and through the spring this year. And last year I only sold two ultimates for the whole year. This year I've already sold eight already year to date. And just because I'm dialed in back on my scripts, I'm technically six for myself, but two extra ones I sold were on ROR. So overall eight, six for myself. And so I definitely have seen the light on why like I sold 71 last spring and 112 this spring is because just dialing the scripts was one of the biggest changes. And obviously an attitude adjustment too. Like showing up the right way, really being dialed in. I remember Bert last September, we had our retreat as well, and he was there. I remember Bert Wicks just saying something so simple but so profound. And he's like, when you show up to these types of events or events in general, he's like, I'm a big believer in like standing and being engaged. Now, I'm not saying that's the end all be all, like you'll sell more Cutco just by standing. But Bert's personal belief last year, he's like, I was on my feet the vast majority of the time because that's just what works for me. It keeps me engaged. So whatever keeps you engaged, you need to make sure to challenge yourself to do so. And it was so simple because I brought that, to Matt, and Matt's like, yeah, sometimes I sit but I'm still engaged when I sit. And so, whatever option you choose to do, these are like the little things that affect the bigger things over the course of a year. And it's only been like 5 months, 4.5 months, or whatever it's been so far. But it's definitely, I've noticed it made an impact on me personally. That's the first thing. The second thing I would definitely want to highlight here is doubling down on your marketing. I know like I'm preaching to the choir right now, but these are mostly reminders. I have seen the light when it comes to like truly doubling down on like the return of investment on your marketing. Not just like you sell them once, you never talk to them throughout the year, and then you just randomly send them a postcard and pray that they show up and your postcard pays for itself and then some, right? What I'm saying is that, at first layer, so I'm gonna give you some sub points to this. The first sub point here is gonna be like, dude, hit if these are your best events of the year, like your money making, reap what you sow, harvest the crops types of shows, like types of season that you have right now, making sure that, like, yeah, they are getting the emails. Yes, of course, they're getting the texts. But are you doing the voice drops? Are you doing the postcards? Are you doing all the things that are required to do this? And one of the things that I would challenge on is like, at the end of the day, when, sometimes I'll get some feedback from a team member that's like, man, postcards the most expensive way. And I'm like, well, yeah, you're definitely right. But have you ever tracked the data on how many postcards make their way back to you at that event? Because I know Josh tracks this, and you guys all know Josh is like the king of data when it comes to this kind of stuff. And like when he is able to just simply open up a spreadsheet and show like at this fair this year we had this many postcards come back. Our postcard customers bought this much Cutco. I spent this much on my postcards that year and I profited this much because of the postcard customers. If you don't have that kind of data point, it's a lot harder to be able to have the argument of like postcards don't work. And so before you have that, if you have any of those like kind of like thoughts and stuff about postcards, I would just recommend get the data first and then come back to it after. But of course, email, text, voice drops, all super cheap. That should be a no-brainer. Now, the next sub point I would have on this is like, what are you actually putting on your marketing to drive people to this? Are you just saying, come see me, buy Cutco from me because I'm your guy or girl and I have specials? Or are you doing all the things that you can think of to hit all the chords basically? Like have you thrown out enough carrots that people can attach themselves to on what would get them excited to show up? So for example, I didn't want to do tickets for the longest time from working Texas. I think last year was my fourth year. And I remember I've worked up customers. I have a customer base there at this point. And I started hearing about people doing tickets, buying them in advance, sending them out to their customers, and people have gone through the trial and error of what that entails. And like some of the people that I've noticed that are best with their tickets, Calvin, Chelsea, Brian, Josh, like some of these types of people, they're like, yeah, this is how I did tickets at like layer level one. And I made a lot of mistakes. They're like, now this is what I'm doing. Like I've refined my ticket process. My ticket program is what they call it. And after getting some time with them last year, um, or the year prior to that, I was like, okay, I see the value in this. I'm willing to pony up the money if I just learn from their mistakes without making them myself. So here's what I mean by this. At first, when they would buy tickets and it was a new concept, they would just send out tickets. Some of them sent it out to everybody. Like they just really went above and beyond. That didn't work very well. I mean, when I say it didn't work very well, I mean profitability, it was a lot of misses than hits, right? And then some people, what they did is they only sent it to their top percentage of customers. They're like, hey, people over this threshold, whatever they decided what that was, they only sent it to those people. And they're like, that was better, but we could do better. And then the current one that I've learned, again, Chelsea gets big hits on them, a super strong return, Calvin, these people I mentioned. And they're like, what we do now is like whenever we finish our fair, we look at our orders and we look at our customers that go to the fair and we capture all their information. And then next year, before we buy tickets, we text them all individually, not as a mass text from texting base or whatever you use, simple text. We text them individually from that spreadsheet from our cell phones, and we just reach out and say, "Hey, Sally, it's Cutco Dante. State Fair of Texas is coming up again this year, so just wanted to reach out to you because we might potentially get some extra tickets based on our sponsorship this year. I just wanted to see if you guys are planning on coming to the fair, and if so, could you use one or two tickets?" Because they made the mistake by just sending one. And if you send one to a married couple, they got a lot of, ironically, it's like they should be grateful for the free ticket, but they were actually negative because they didn't get two for their spouse. That happened. They told me about that. So luckily I didn't have to go through that. And so I did the same thing this past Texas. So I had my first wave, my first year of doing this. And like I sent out I had like 30 people respond saying that they were going to come. So I sent out like, I think it was like 47 tickets or whatever it was. And I had 27 of them come to me directly, and I had another dozen of them stop at other booths. And so, like, my ticket past customer sales at Texas last year for the very limited shifts that I get to work there as a guest, um, was awesome. It was just crazy good. And so now I'm totally sold. And so I know I'm kind of like beating a dead horse right now, but the point I'm trying to make is that there's levels to doing your marketing, not just like send the email, send a postcard, just mass blanket tickets. Not saying do that. What I'm saying is like do drawings. Are you advertising to your clients like, hey, I'm going to be doing a drawing for my past customers for every single person that comes by the booth and says hi? No purchase necessary. Get a bonus drawing for any referrals, family or friends that you bring to the booth and buy from me directly. That you get a free piece of Cutco for yourself, and you get an additional drawing into the past customer drawing. Like, what are the creative ways that you can just over the top, over communicate, and just like build immense value from like them reading your little postcard or your email or your text saying like, this is everything that comes with showing up to the fair this year, coming to say hi to your Cutco person, or seeing us at another booth and name dropping me, all that kind of stuff. Service signups. You know, the thing I love about driving my past customers to the booth now with like service signups? I personally like doing this because sometimes they come up to the booth asking for service, and I handle that when I get FaceTime with them, which is always good. But when they have their request for sharpening, there have been times where I'm like, yeah, we have three ways you can do this. You got factory service, you got home service, or like local service is what I say now, because sometimes it's home, sometimes it's a service event. And then the third is the upgrade program. Like, I'm sure you guys do this, but if you're not on this wagon yet, like promoting the third option as just doing the shipping label, you get a free shipping label when you do the upgrade program. Oh my gosh, absolute money. And so the idea with that, I've had people come last year to Texas, or like a couple events I've done so far this year, and they come up asking to request for service, and then they pick the upgrade option. I pitch them the upgrade. I close the upgrade on the spot. I don't have to invite them to an event. I don't have to worry about going to their house and spending time there. They buy it on the spot, and then they get a free shipping label. They get FaceTime with me. They are happy. Talk about like just efficiency of working your database and working your PCs, right? And so if you're not doing that stuff yet, make sure to do it. And obviously have a plan in place to where you can direct schedule them into your service event or your service call or whatever service process you choose to do. So as far as doubling down on marketing, that's something I would strongly recommend is all that stuff. And then really at the end of the day, guys, I was really banging my head against the wall trying to make sure like if there's anything else I can think of, because this is such like it's just two bullet points. All I'm focused on right now is treating every event like it's a key event by dialing in my scripts, having a good attitude, doing all the right things. And then the second bullet point of just doubling down on my marketing. And once I really went through my notes, I was like, how do you have a great fair? How do you have a great event? You're good at selling Cutco and you get more people to your booth. That's it. And we just don't need to overcomplicate it. I'm sure there's a lot of scripts and skill set stuff we can get on and get better at and stuff. But all I'm focused on is two things. Get more people in front of me by whatever means necessary, and I'm going to sell them as much as I can by making sure I'm good at my job. That's what I got for you. So I'm open for questions if there are any.
Awesome. All right. Anybody have questions for Dante?
I do.
Hello,
Who's
iPhone.
speaking? iPhone is speaking.
This is James.
James. All right.
Yeah. Hey, Dante. Thanks for being on. This is James Hill. Question like,
Oh,
what
what's
do
up,
you
dude?
do to prepare yourself, whether it be at your big events, your other events, just going in mindset, your meal prep, your day to day, like your mindset, just getting in there and succeeding at your events. Like, what are you doing to prepare yourself?
I'm gonna give you such a terrible answer. And so, but I'm gonna give you the straight up answer for me. So, the way that my mind works, I'm just a very just matter of fact person. I try to be just like, this is what I want to get done. This is why I need to get it done. So I'm just gonna put my big boy pants on and go do it. And so here's what I mean by that. My goal is to sell a shit ton of Cutco this year. Like it's about time where I need to start pushing 500K a year. So when you say like, how do you, get in the right mindset and do the prep and all that? I don't do meal prep. That's just not something I do. My meal prep, quote unquote, that I do every day, I have my creatine in the morning. I go to the gym and what do you call it? And I have a Fairlife protein drink while I'm on the drive there. That's what I do. And then I work all day. I sell as much as I can. If I ever get in a rough spot where I'm having a bad day or something like that, like I ask my booth mate if I'm working with someone, I'll be like, "Hey, dude, can you? I've had like three no sales in a row. Can you just check me real quick and just like maybe keep an ear open, see if I'm like saying things the right way? Just have that moment where you're just like, "Hey, dude, help me out here." Um, so as far as like prep goes, that's really all my prep is, and then my driving force to get through the day and get through the week and get He's right, chicken nuggies. So the idea is that you guys will know what that means whenever I work with you guys. You'll see what my food palette is like. So the idea is at the end of the day, my driving force to get through every day, every customer, every week, and now every month now and every campaign going forward is I have big goals. I am super fired up to do certain things. And so I'm just going to be focused on that every single day. I know it's not the normal response to a question like that in Cutco, so that's why I say that. That's why I say that.
Awesome. Anyone else have a question for Dante?
I guess I'll ask real quick, because I haven't done like the tickets thing. So are you again just sending it in the mail just randomly? Do you have a postcard with the tickets in the mail? Or so yeah, what's your process with that?
For sure. So, more people get postcards than they do tickets. So, like, if I have 100 people that are getting postcards, there's probably about roughly 15 to 20 of those people that are also getting tickets from me. And so when to send them, my postcards go out separately. That's a third party company. They take care of it for me. They send them out. For the tickets, whenever depending on the fair, like some fairs don't do this or they do it different or whatever. For Texas, we have to order the tickets in advance, and so we get a discount for doing that. And so I have to tell Brian and Josh like how many tickets I want. So that's why I have to do my homework prior up to the deadline. And I get my list. I know how many I need. I order them through whatever we order. They give them directly to me. And then, yes, we do a handwritten card. We put them into an envelope and we put the tickets in there, the one or two that they requested. And then I put them in there, I seal it, and I send it to them. It's very personal.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Awesome. Anybody else? All right. Well, thank you for your time, Dante. We really appreciate you being on here, and we're excited
Of
to
course.
have you at Alameda and California State Fair helping out
Mhm.
this year. And we'll see some of this in action.
Absolutely. I'm very excited to be out there, guys. So anything I can do that I can provide value with or anything, please, for the love of God, like I'm a guest, like treat me as so. Make sure that you guys just pillage me with any type of value or any questions that you may have. Um, my phone number, I'm just going to throw into the chat here. So if you guys don't have my phone number, go ahead and save it. And then if you have any questions or anything else I can do that you can think of, just reach out to me. And I hope during some of the off days at the fair or the off times of the fair, we can go eat or hang out or bullshit or do whatever. So sorry, it's recording right now. So on that happy note, but yeah, if there's nothing else, then we are good to go, and I'll see you guys soon.
Awesome. Thank you again.
For sure, guys.